Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the South Carolina Gamecocks Dynasty here on EA Sports College Football 25. And South Carolina has their second bye week of the season today. So we're going to go through our first recap, take a look at where we stand in the standings in terms of conference, look at other conferences, look at stats, as well as get a big kind of recruiting update so we can kind of see where we stand before simulating the week and getting ready for our next matchup. So if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. As currently our South Carolina Gamecocks are having a very good season, a lot better, I would say, than people would have imagined. We are 5-2 currently, 3-2 in the conference, currently ranked 22nd. Now, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the season, I thought we would be lucky to maybe even be 500 at this point, but here we are, 5-2, fresh off a massive upset against Oklahoma, and we're sitting pretty good in the SEC. So the first thing, let's actually take a look at the conference standings around college football. We'll start off in the SEC. You can see we are currently 4th in the conference. Now, the only problem is the top two are pretty set in stone right now. Georgia is the best team in the land. Texas A&M is undefeated. We will see them next. They have a game to play this week, though. But they're also undefeated, and they're ranked 5th. Texas is there at 23. And then Alabama, who we beat. Actually, we lost Alabama, excuse me. We beat a couple of other teams. They sit at 2-2 in the conference, ranked 18th. And you got Arkansas, Florida, Oklahoma, who's still ahead of us somehow. Kentucky, Ole Miss, a bunch of teams in the mix. We beat Ole Miss and Oklahoma. How are they in front of us? Let's start with the ACC. We'll start from the top down. The ACC currently is run by NC State, who's ranked 6th, and Miami, who's ranked 8th. They're both undefeated in the conference. Bunch of 2-1 teams. Boston College, North Carolina, SMU. 20-ranked Syracuse is there. Wake Forest, and then our division rival, the Clemson Tigers. They're 3-4 on the season, but they're 3-2 in the conference, so they've won at least inside of the ACC. In the American, the Rice Owls, who are undefeated and are not ranked, by the way. They are at the top of the American. Remember, the best group of 5 team will make the playoffs. The Owls are pushing to be that team. But North Texas is also undefeated in the conference. They're 6-1. Go to the Big 12. Colorado sits at the top. Them and Oklahoma State. OK State is ranked 4. Colorado ranked 11. And then Utah is there as well. Arizona, West Virginia, Arizona State. And then you got Texas Tech, who's ranked down here as well as Kansas State, even though they're 2-3 in the conference. In the Big 10, leading the way is the defending champion Michigan Wolverines. They've yet to lose. And speaking of teams yet to lose, Ohio State is yet to lose, but also is Rutgers. The number 9 seeded Scarlet Knights now are undefeated. They have a big game this week. They play number 7 Oregon. So that will be a very big test for the Scarlet Knights. Northwestern's up there as well with their 10,000, I guess, max field is what they're playing at now. It's proven to get them to 14th. They also got Penn State, USC, a lot of top teams here at the top in the Big 10. In the Conference USA, Liberty is undefeated, as well as Jacksonville State, as they lead the way out there. Independence, you can take a look at their standings currently on the screen. In the MAC, a couple of undefeated teams, Bowling Green Falcons and Central Michigan Chippewas are out there, followed by a bunch of 2-1s. In the Mountain West, a lot of unbeatens here, as we're still only a couple weeks into conference play. You got New Mexico, Wyoming, Boise State, Colorado State, and UNLV. It's going to be a dogfight here in the Mountain West Conference. In the Pac-2, Pac-12 is what they're officially called. You can see them. They're not having good seasons. And then finally in the Sun Belt, they're the actual only conference right now that does divisions. So if you take a look at the East, it is App State, who's undefeated. And then in the West, it is Texas State, who is undefeated. We'll take a quick look at the Heisman watch to see who's kind of showed out so far to begin. As here's a look at how it stands. Your 5 guys at the top. Shedeur Sanders leading the way for Colorado. Wouldn't it be crazy if the son of Deion got the Heisman? We'd never hear the end of it. Jackson Dart's had a good season as well. He's up there. Campbell Ward of Miami's got them in the top 10. Kyron Drones of Virginia Tech, he's been in the talk a lot this year, so I would not sleep on the Hokies and him. And then Brady Cook, who we still got to see this season later on in Missouri, despite the Tigers having a down year. He is performing quite well. Very heavy with the quarterbacks. Now we'll go into stats up next. So I haven't looked at our stats yet, but I am very impressed with how the team has played. And we'll start off in the passing department. Lenore Sellers has been phenomenal, I would say, for us at all facets of the game. Yes, he has 8 interceptions, but I've been very impressed. He averages over 300 yards a game. He's thrown 15 touchdowns. For a redshirt freshman getting his first real chance at play this season, he has exceeded all expectations for me, both as a runner and as a passer. I'm so excited he's our quarterback for the next couple of seasons. And in the rushing department, Raheem Rocket Sanders leads the way like I thought he would. 631 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's had a couple of weak games recently. Fared a lot better in non-conference play. Those numbers are a little inflated because of like games against Old Dominion and Akron and company. But he's still been a good runner. But we just need some more help with our offensive line, I feel like, and he could be even better than that. Sellers has 4 touchdowns on the ground as well. He'd have a lot more rushing yards, but remember in college football, sacks go against rushing stats, so he's only at 216. Attaway, the third at the North Texas transfer, he's been a good help as well. He found an end zone once with 140 yards. And then Braswell, DJ Braswell as well, has 2 touchdowns. In the receiving department, leading the way is Raheem Sanders. Yes, our running back leads the way with receptions by a large margin and yards. I did not think going to the season that we'd use our halfbacks as much as we do in the passing game, but it's really been a big help, especially since our offensive line doesn't hold up a lot against some of these stronger SEC teams. We need some checkdowns, and Sanders is usually open. He's caught 4 touchdown passes, but the big guy on the outside has been Nick Harbor, the 6'5" speedster. You've been waiting for him to take the next step in his sophomore campaign, and he has 24 catches, 506 yards, and already has 8 touchdowns. You want to talk about a guy who's been a deep threat? It has been Nick Harbor. I'd like, though, to see him get a little bit more involved in passes that are not just straight go routes, and I feel like we've done that a little bit. He still drops some passes from time to time, so if he can clean that up, he would be very much a force and a future Sunday, probably early round pick as well. Our tight end, Joshua Simon, he's also been a pretty good security blanket. 29 catches, 331 yards, and 2 scores for him in his final season with the team. Gage Larvadain has really kind of stepped up as that slot guy for us. I was kind of going between him and Huggins Bruce at the beginning of the year, but I've leaned a lot more towards Larvadain just because he's been very good after the catch. 248 yards, 1 touchdown for him. And then Jared Brown, the other guy on the outside, 8 for a 192. I would like to see him get a little bit more involved on that left side. We just do favor the right side of the field, I feel like, more often. Huggins Bruce, the other guy in the slot, 18 for 182 as well. Attaway's caught some passes out of the backfield, including a touchdown. And then we see Dalevon Campbell with 4 grabs. Hunt has 4 as well. And then DJ Braswell with 2. And the blocking has been kind of a struggle, especially at the tackle spots. Kason Henry and Trey Bobolade have been the weak points for the team. You know, whether it's giving up some sacks or it's holdings, you know, they've struggled in pass protection. And even the middle of the line, they've done better, but right guard's been a little bit up and down. I've gone back and forth between the sophomore Trovon Ball and then the redshirt senior Kamar Bell. I feel like I'm leaning more towards Bell. Maybe it's because he is a senior, but I don't know. Ball just hasn't played as good. And, you know, we have him for at least another year, but we only have Bell for the rest of this season. So I'm kind of leaning the way of the senior. But right guard has been a little tricky between these two. I would say Vershawn Lee's done a pretty good job at center. And then Ja'Kai Moore's been okay at left guard. He gives up some pressures. He gets called for a couple of holdings as well. But overall, I feel like the offensive line does need to step up a good bit. On defense, leading the way in tackles has been Jalen Kilgore. He's a safety who plays a lot in the slot. He's been very good. He's been a very versatile safety, only a true sophomore as well, so he's got plenty of time to grow. But he leads the team in tackles. One guy I do want to highlight, Debo Williams, the captain of the defense. He's played really good his senior season. He's made some big plays in the run game when needed. Nick Emenwari is also up there, the junior. He has 2 interceptions, which does lead our team in that category. A couple of interceptions for DQ Smith and O'Donnell Fortune. I think the passing defense has been okay. You know, we go against these, you know, very talented quarterbacks down the stretch. They do start to light us up. But overall, I'd say they've done a pretty decent job. I'd like to see a little bit more turnovers forced. But overall, I can't complain. Bakari Swain also on the other side, the redshirt freshman. He's done pretty good as a freshman. I mean, we're young also as well. I mean, freshmen, we will lose Fortune. DQ Smith's only a junior. Kilgore's only a sophomore. And then Inman Wardy's only a junior as well. So we will return most of our secondary next season. The D-line, they've been very good. Specifically this man, Dylan Stewart, the true freshman 5-star from the DMV area. He has been electric. 8.5 sacks, 18 tackles for a loss. I mean, this kid has been special for us, both as a run defender and the passing game as well. I've loved the contribution we've got from him. Next up, Kyle Kennard, the Ball State transfer. 4.5 sacks, 18 tackles for a loss. He's been pretty good on the edge as well. Tonka Hemingway in the middle. He has 13 TFLs. I would like to see him step up a little bit more, though. I feel like, we saw in the Oklahoma game, we got shredded in the first half in the ground game. Even in, the Ole Miss game, we struggled in run defense as well. So I need a couple of these guys up the middle to step up. Hemingway, Sanders has a sack and 6 TFLs. I'm looking at you as well. Elijah Davis is kind of a rotational guy as a senior. I need him to step up. But overall, I feel the defense does need to step up a little bit. But, we're sitting 5-2, and I can't complain fully. Kicking has not been that bad, specifically since Mason Love is a true freshman. He's only missed 3 kicks, which overall is not bad. I was expecting kicking this year to be really hard, and Mason Love has, I would say, outperformed his current overall. But in Kai Kroger, he's been a good punter, but we'll have to get a new punter next season. Let's go around the country, shall we? See who's lighting it up in college football at all facets. Starting off with the passing, it looks like Garrett Nussmeier's at the top. We saw him this season. Graham Mertz, Jalen Rayner with Arkansas State. Dylan Gabriel's up there as well. Chandler Morris. It's a very heavy look at the league. Your touchdown leader right now is Cameron Rising in Utah, 31-2. I'm surprised he's not getting more Heisman recognition. Alan Bowman of OK State up there as well. Your interception leader right now is Caden Simonza in Ball State, Ben Finley, and Deuce Hogan. But your Power 5 leaders, Aiden Chiles of the Spartans, and Lenore Sellers of the Gamecocks. Even though he's thrown 8, 6 of those have come in 2 games. So if he can just not throw 3 interceptions in a game, he's been very good. But if you take out those numbers, so I think it's a little skewed. Your rushing leader right now in terms of yards is Ollie Gordon. No surprise there. Carries leader is Jordan Waters of NC State. Raheem Sanders is up there as well with 134 carries. And we saw Ulysses Bentley in the Ole Miss game. I'm surprised he's up there. I feel like Ole Miss should throw the football more. Your touchdown leaders with 10 already is Maquel Haywood in App State. And we see Donovan Edwards up there as well. He'll be a high draft pick. Corey Kenner and Malik Sherrod. Receiving leader in yards is Donovan McCulley with Indiana, followed by Evan Stewart in Oregon. Receptions leader, I'm assuming I know who it is. Yeah, it's going to be Raheem Sanders with this 68 by a wide margin. As far as wide receivers, Stephen McBride in Hawaii. Touchdowns, a couple of guys already in double figures. Blair Conwright of North Texas. Rashad Owens in Oklahoma State. Noah Rogers of NC State. Courtney Jackson in Arkansas State. Toledo's Junior Vander Ross. Xavier Thomas in LSU. And then Dakari Collins as well. So that's 2 guys in Raleigh with double-digit touchdowns. Pretty good numbers. And then on the defense, your sacks leader, we'll go pretty quick, is Chandler Martin with 4.5. Actually, why does it always do this? That means Dylan Stewart is first. There's a lot of guys missing. I don't know why they always struggle to show your own players. But so good job for Stewart. Interceptions, a couple of guys with 4 at the top. But we'll take a look now at the recruiting aspect. I know it's been a little bit. We've gotten a couple of recruits, and I have shown them. But in terms of the battles going on, here's where it stands. Remember, we don't have any more 5-star guys. We've lost out on all of them. And one thing I do want to mention real quick, we have 4 recruits, which honestly is kind of underwhelming. I feel like we have a lot of guys who are close, but if you look at our needs, we have 31 players who are seniors. That is insane. We're losing a ton of talent. So at this point, we're probably going to have some walk-ons next year. So hopefully we can get some more guys to the roster, because 31 seniors is absurd to have on a football team. I did not even know it was that much. Let's go through the guys. Chance Clements, you remember he was the Speed Demon wide receiver with his 96 speed. He's looking pretty good. Hopefully we can close him out soon, though. because I'd like to just get that wrapped up and devote those points somewhere else. We're also targeting John Roundtree, the left guard from Abbeville High School as well. We got a pretty good lead on him. He's a gem. He's got good finesse. So a couple of guys I expect to commit soon, but I needed them to commit so I can get those points. We've lost out right now on Brady Townsville, unfortunately. We've gotten a couple of help in the secondary already with a couple of 4 stars, but I do like Townsville as well. He's got great zone coverage and good speed. Hopefully we can get back in the running here with a visit coming up in that game against Texas A&M. So that's going to be a big game. Sean Hager as well, between us and Clemson. He was a run-stopping defensive end. Mustafa Ororo, he's a center we're looking at, 4 stars. He should be committing relatively soon as we hold a big lead on him. Ty Lamb, another secondary guy. He's more of a man coverage corner. He's predominantly favoring us. So again, we have a lot of guys leaning towards us. We just need to wrap these up. Jason Beckett, a tight end who's a gem. We're the only team that's offered, so I'm hoping that he will accept that. I'm a little nervous that one of these other teams will see the gem that he is and also send an offer and get back in this running. So we're only giving him 10 right now because I need those points otherwise. Speaking of tight ends, we got Brian Kennedy, who we've offered to. He's more of a vertical threat from Stall High School in North Charleston, South Carolina. It's between us and North Carolina, the only 2 teams that's offered, but UNC is making up ground. And then at safety spot, Danny Cuffman. We're the only team that's offered, but he seems like he wants to play for Georgia, which is a little unfortunate. Lawrence Gentry, another defensive end, who's heavily leaning towards us. And then we got Wayne Watkins, who we got passed by Coastal Carolina, so they must have extended an offer to him. And he's from Columbia, so if we lose out on him, that's unfortunate. I have kind of given up on this race, though. We've only put in 5 points. He's a quarterback. We've already got a quarterback this class, so I'm, maybe going down on him a little bit. Otis McNutt, another tight end, is basically just us right now. Malik Asante, we're leading the way on him pretty strong. Matt Cockrill, another guy we should get to commit really soon. He's another quarterback we're looking at. We need a new punter after this year. We're looking at Taylor Montez. That one's looking pretty promising. Deshaun Heap is a corner that I've found. Only given 5 points right now just because he is raw, but he does have a good depth trait with that gym. So hopefully Virginia doesn't make a push because I like to devote points into him after we get some of our big guys. Josh McDaniel, another quarterback who's out in front. It's between us, Virginia Tech, and App State. Tremaine Billups, a 3-star. This one's gotten heated in a hurry between us, Coastal Carolina, and Kennesaw State. Yes, Kennesaw State is in the race, and we're facing Coastal Carolina. He's a pretty good safety who plays more, I would say, in the box. So that's why I'm only giving 10 to him. Kicker, just in case we need a new kicker, I went after Chavon Lampkin, but have kind of fallen out of that race. And then a couple of other guys that I don't know if we've talked about fully. Stefan Latsko, I'm not giving any points to. Demetrius Roberts, I know we've talked about. We're in the lead for him, but I'm not giving any points to currently. Chris Cheeseman is a guy that I've scouted. That's, if you look at him, he's more of a bust. But again, I need to replace these 31 guys leaving. So he's on the board. Leo Hosmer is a guy that I found, a 4-star down the stretch who I've not fully scouted yet, but he's got that 78 man for a free safety, so maybe we can get in the race here. I did offer him a scholarship this week, so I'd expect us to jump. We're currently 10th, higher up. And then a couple other guys I have currently on the board. Nate Lamb from Fort Mill High School in Fort Mill, South Carolina. I do want to scout as well. And then the 3-star LaJarvis Bryant from Moxville High School in Moxville, North Carolina. 2 guys that I will scout in the coming weeks and see how that goes. But currently, we only have our 4 guys who we know: Sonny Gallen, Jeff Rubin, Jamie Johns, and Telvin Byler. So hopefully we can add some more to that. But that'll do it for the bye week portion. Let's go ahead and sim the week. Maybe we'll even get some recruits and see how week 9 goes in college football. So after the sim, we do get some recruits. Starting off, wide receiver Chance Clements, the deep threat 4-star, has committed from Socastee High School in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is a guy who will definitely add an element to the deep game that's already there. Just another trailblazer on the outside. Super excited to have Chance Clements. He was one of the guys I really wanted as a 4-star. You can see his highlights here, just electric with the football. He is coming to South Carolina, but he's not the only commits we've got. We got 2 more in the trenches. We also got left guard John Roundtree from Abbeville High School, teammates with Jamie Johns, the right tackle from Abbeville High School, who already committed with the team. Roundtree is a 4-star, so he will help on the left guard spots with an offensive line that has needed some help. You can see here in the game against Darlington, the same game we looked at with Jamie Johns, holding up pretty good at that left guard spot as he will commit to the Gamecocks. And then finally, we get an athlete. 3-star Matt Cockrell from Jailman High School in Greenville, South Carolina has committed. Don't have any game film on him, but just another quarterback to add to our ranks. As you can take a look at the scores around the league in Week 9, we're going to go through the top stories because there's something I want to show you after this that I didn't want to spoil yet. But Kennesaw State loses. Middle Tennessee knocks off Jacksonville State in the Conference USA. Pittsburgh gets a win over Syracuse. Louisville victorious over Boston College. Mississippi State knocks off Arkansas. Texas, they're back on track. They beat Vanderbilt. Slow start for the Longhorns, but they're getting hot at the right time. North Carolina over Virginia. SMU, at number 18, knocks off Duke. TCU is victorious in the rivalry over Texas Tech. App State knocks off Georgia State. The Mountaineers, the team to beat in the Sun Belt. Miami, Ohio knocks off Central Michigan, the first loss in MAC play for the Chippewas, while Bowling Green stays undefeated. Michigan also stays undefeated. They beat their rivals in Michigan State. Minnesota knocks off Maryland, knocking them from the ranks, while Northwestern also suffers a loss. So a couple of Big Ten teams going down. Rice is no longer undefeated. They lose to UConn. The Huskies knock off the Owls. Notre Dame beats Navy, while Ohio State, the now number 1 team, they are victorious over Nebraska. Penn State in a nail-biter. They beat the Badgers. They get number 4. 111 points, but Indiana gets it done against Washington, a shootout. And then Auburn knocks off Kentucky. Virginia Tech victorious over Georgia Tech. Remember Kyron Drones in the Heisman watch. Stanford over Wake Forest. Colorado loses to Cincinnati. The Bearcats with an upset. While Kansas State, they knock off Kansas. Oklahoma State stays undefeated against Baylor. And then the AAC, Memphis over Charlotte. Tulane over North Texas. New Mexico, they stay undefeated in the Mountain West. Eastern Michigan over Akron in the MAC. And then also in MAC play, in AAC, East Carolina over Temple. Utah State still looking for their first win. They lose to Wyoming. Illinois with an upset in Eugene. They knock off the Ducks by 6. Ole Miss victorious over Oklahoma, who are now on a losing streak. And then Utah, they drop to Houston. So a couple of big teams going down. Fresno State knocks off San Jose State. Troy over Arkansas State. While Alabama loses to Missouri. The Crimson Tide no longer ranked. Mizzou with a huge victory. Arizona beats West Virginia. Tulsa over UTSA. And then Rutgers are for real. They knock off USC 27-24. Scarlet Knights ranked 6th in the country. LSU with a nail-biter over Texas A&M. So A&M loses before we play them next week. Miami destroys their rival in Florida State. USCF is victorious. Boise State over UNLV. And then Cal over their former Pac-12 rival in Oregon State. And Nevada over Hawaii. But here's a look at your first college football rankings. And look at that down there. I know you see it. At number 12 are the Gamecocks. Yes, we're the 12th ranked team in the college football playoff. That is awesome to be ranked 12. However, I do think we should be 11. I don't know how Ole Miss is still ahead of us. Yes, they beat Oklahoma, but so did we. But we're ranked 12. The only downside of that is because one group of 5 team has to make the college football bracket. So if you look at the early predictions, we're not in because the 12th spot is going to Liberty. But still a lot of time to play. Here's your first official look at the college football playoff. It started today. You'll see a couple of 1s and 2s not in the first round. Like Ohio State doesn't get a bias because they're currently not favored to win the conference. Remember, only conference winners get a bye. But otherwise, that is a look at the bracket, which makes the next game that much more important. But here's your look at the games. Big ones in Week 10. Ohio State, Penn State, 1 versus 4. Also in the Big 10, Michigan plays Oregon. ACC plays NC State versus Stanford. Then us, the big one. We play Texas A&M, a game that was already big, just got even more massive as we're number 12. They're number 9 coming off of a loss. We're coming off of a bye week. And they're not going to be happy in this rivalry matchup. The stakes are high. If we want to sniff the college football playoff, which I did not think was possible going into this year, we got to pull off a win against A&M. I don't think we're going to be the favored team, but we also weren't favored in Norman. So can we get a victory at home against the Aggies? It's going to be a big game. You don't want to miss it. That will be the next episode coming to you guys on a Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you right here. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.